Now it's time to install the abomination mechanism and sign. But first, take a look at your printed instructions, drawing 1A near the back for the details you will need in order to find the center point of the stage radius. Now, after measuring and using a plumb bob to find that center line, install the sign mechanism support frame and use hardware number 4 for this. Begin by attaching a foot-long 2x4 support piece to the drapery board directly above the center line. Now position the support piece about 5 inches behind the front of the drapery board. Next, attach a second foot-long 2x4 directly on top of the first. When you're finished with the front, install a third 2x4 support piece on the back wall above the ceiling tiles. This back support piece should be the same size as the two pieces in the front and should be attached at the same height as the top of the front support. Use 3-inch drywall screws to mount this final support piece into a stud on the back wall. This is a recommended installation, and you may have to change this procedure for your particular stage. Now find the large 8-foot-long 2x4 and mount it on the smaller support pieces. Now make sure this support piece is on the radius center line. The abomination mechanism will be attached to it next, so check to make sure the support frame is in the proper position. Then fasten it down using drywall screws. Locate the aluminum abomination sign mechanism and then position it on top of the large wood support. When you've got it in the right place, attach weights to the sign mechanism cables and allow them to hang freely. Now at this point you may find it necessary to trim pieces of the ceiling grid away to allow those cables to dangle uninterrupted. Now measure to see that those abomination mechanism cables are hanging 6 inches behind the banner board. Check this by measuring from the front of the board. Finally, when you've determined the mechanism is on the center line and the lines are positioned properly, bolt the sign mechanism onto the support piece using hardware number 6. Now find the coiled air line and run it across the ceiling to the sign mechanism. Attach airline lead A to the front and airline lead B to the back of the sign mechanism. When you have completed attaching both leads of the airline, guide the remainder down the wall between the rain curtain and the curtain motor. Attach the airline to the wall using the tie wraps provided in hardware 13. Drill a hole in the stage floor near the curtain motor and feed the airline through it. It will be attached later. Finally, finish the job by spray painting the airline at the stage back wall. Now move on to step E in the printed instructions, to the installation of the Klunk banner. Center the banner onto the banner board and use the Velcro in the front of the board and press it into place. Now as you install it, make sure it's centered properly and all wrinkles have been removed. Finally, staple it into place for added security. Now it's time to install the Uncle Klunk abomination sign. In order to complete this step, you should use illustration 8B, located in the back of the printed installation instructions. Use this hardware and cut and crimp the cable lengths using the formula you have been given. Now be sure to make the cables of equal length so the sign will hang evenly. Now, when you've got the sign hanging, be sure to crimp the S-hooks where they attach the sign to the cables and springs. This will prevent the sign from accidentally falling onto the stage during a performance. Finally, check to see that your sign hangs evenly. This is the hardware you will need to hang the TV camera. Measure carefully and locate a position over the guest chair 34 inches on center from the back wall. Now install 2 eye bolts in the ceiling 25.5 inches apart and use picture hanging wire to suspend the camera. Check that the front of the camera hangs 23 inches from the ceiling and the rear 17 inches. When you've completed the TV camera installation, locate your On the Air sign. Now, if your applause sign faceplate has not yet been changed over to the On the Air faceplate, then you will have to change it. Refer to drawing 9A in the printed instructions for the retrofit. When you're ready to install the sign, measure to find the center of your stage back wall. Now attach 2 L brackets to your On the Air sign, and then attach the completed assembly to your back wall at the top of the curtain header. Now once the sign has been installed, check to see that the rear curtain hangs freely. Also, locate the sign's power cord and staple it to the back wall. Finish the job by plugging the sign in. You will be using these toggle bolts, part of hardware number 7, to install the cuckoo clock next. Begin by mounting the shorter leg of these L brackets to the wall. Now the brackets mount 52 inches above the stage floor, measuring to the top of the bracket. Now space them 15 inches apart, centered on the back wall center line, and drill holes and then push the toggle bolts through. When you're finished, check to see that the brackets are level and secure. Locate the cuckoo clock and set it on the brackets. The power cord and air lines are located within the clock's rear door, so be sure to free them first. As you set the clock in its position, check to see that it is 1.5 inches away from the wall. This will allow enough clearance for the rain curtain to hang freely. Also at this time, check to see that your clock is level. Now, when the clock is positioned properly, use the Durdines from hardware number 2 and fasten it down. The air lines and power cord run straight down the back wall. Now be sure to use the wire ties to fasten them securely. Also, you must drill a hole through the stage floor near the back wall. The air lines from the clock run under the stage here. Use flat black paint on the power cord and air lines and plug the cuckoo clock's power cord in the outlet previously used by the red floodlight. And finally, arrange the rain curtain so it hangs freely. You will be using these 3-inch drywall screws next to mount the Love Mom picture. Turn the picture over and put 2 of the drywall screws into the bottom corners of the picture frame. Now, the screw should just be visible at the front of the frame. This will allow the rain curtain to hang freely behind the picture. Now measure to install the picture 41 1/4 inches from the center line to the left of the clock.